Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, welcome wherever you are. You joining me here today feels like on the top of the world. I am right on top of Ilkley Moor, next to Ilkley Moor. We're going to have a walk across Ilkley Moor, somewhere we've never been on Heygo before, and I think you'll find it is very dramatic. So let's just start by kind of giving you a look at these stones in just a moment, but let me just give you a sense. We've got leads stretching out into the distance behind us. If I can pan out, my glasses are a bit steamed up, but it is probably not clear enough to see. But you've got Bradford, Kirklees over here. As we kind of gradually turn around, we'll be facing towards Harrogate and to Ilkley. So as you can see, we are in a very, very kind of, so a moor really is, someone was asking a minute ago, what is a moor? A moor basically is a largely untreated environment whereby kind of natural habitat is allowed to flourish, and there are some management up here, some of it's created for grouse shooting and so forth, but for the most part moors are natural kind of wildland environments. So we're starting here, so we're on Ilkley Moor, so it's the area of moorland between Ilkley and Keighley in West Yorkshire in England, and of course it's well known for the song On Ilkley Moor Bartat, which we will pick up in a few minutes. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but also known for its carved rocks. This is all heather, absolutely. If we come up here in August, it'll be a beautiful purple colour, but didn't know there's water at the moor. There's lots of water around, yeah, it's quite boggy. Grouse shooting has been stopped, I think, in parts, but there's obviously some privately owned parts sort of behind us that aren't, not all of it I don't think is owned by Bradford Council, but I could be wrong on that. But anyway, let's talk about what I do know about, and that is the place where we're starting today, which is the 12 Apostles Stone Circle. So I'm going to pan out here to hopefully give you, and what we've got here is the remains of a stone circle. The diameter is about 15 metres from one side to the other, and the circle originally had between 16 and 20 stones, but it's now just 12. Now, the signal's not brilliant all the way around, so we're going to do our best to come in close, but if the signal sort of drops off, I'll kind of move. They're made of the local kind of millstone grit, and by the mid-20th century, all these stones had fallen over. So they've been kind of lineless, they've been re-erected. So we don't know precisely whether they are in the original locations, but imagine sort of pretty sort of close by. And the circle inside, the kind of centre, is the Art of the Amazing Stone Circles, is now all kind of worn away. It's corroded. In fact, this is really seen as a kind of problem site, because actually this is a prehistoric, this is Mesolithic we're talking about here. So this is sort of straight after the Stone Age that we're talking about, prior to the Neolithic era, where people began to farm and cultivate. This is remnants of a hunter-gatherer society. Just take that in for a moment. People living up here between 5 and 20,000 years ago, and almost certainly using this as a place of worship. Isn't that incredible? We're going to see another one on the way, actually. Friday we hit it. We may miss, because it's quite hard to find the paths, as you can imagine, kind of around here. But isn't it dramatic? The signal's just dropping, so I'm going to move around. Maybe. We don't know, Anne. I mean, this is the thing, obviously, when we're talking about the kind of prehistory. Prehistory, of course, is the history before stuff was kind of written down. So before the Egyptians sort of started really with kind of characterising it, even though a lot of this was drawings, wasn't it? Aren't very tall. No, not especially tall, about 3 foot in height. But what a magical space. So I'd say it's very kind of corroded, very eroded. But, nonetheless, it is, aren't very tall. So we're back there. Sorry, just hit a bit of a dead spot there. Can you still hear me and see me? Yes, very similar. I'll try and get up to Castlerig. I haven't done a signal test about Castlerig yet, but again, a very, very kind of similar vibe. So, that's, hopefully that is a kind of nice place for us to kind of start. I love Peter from Brisbane. What a sight. So I'll just give you it in a bit of distance there, so now you got right the entirety of it. But what a privilege to be able to bring it on Heygo to, in effect, something from the later Stone Age, the period after the last ice age. Imagine how exposed it would have been living up here. So Margaret is saying memories. Does that mean that you've been up here in a past life, in this life? Not that it should improve kind of markedly. So much of Ilkley Moor, thank you Rachel, was formed during what was the Carboniferous period, which is about 325 million years ago. I'll just say that again, 325 kind of million years ago. And at that time, this was kind of part of a sea level swamp, fed by kind of meandering rivers that kind of worked their way in channels across the moorland. And then basically glacial activity sort of tore apart this countryside and it dumped the stones around. So wherever we see these kind of stones, are very large, we can see some large stones later on, you know, it's amazing to think that they were carried by glaciers. It shows us the kind of the monumental power of the glaciers that, you know, could carry things that we can barely even weigh, let alone kind of establish kind of how heavy they are. So let me just get us over here. So basically we are going to be walking in this sort of general direction all the way back to base, as you might say, to the Cowan Cove. Still stuck on Wallace and Gromit. And luckily there's a path, it's called the Dales Way, so we get a nice sense. We can't get too far lost along the way. But I will have to just keep my eyes and ears open, obviously, because there are some hazards, some sort of deep puddles and so forth. And if I get a bit out of breath, I hope that you will forgive me along the way. So, just a quick struggle. Who's actually been up here on Ilkley Moor? How many are veterans of this? Okay, so Trees has been up here. Anybody else? Clode has been up here. Clode, yeah, I think you're from near Dalesway, aren't you? So, it's mad, we've got 5-star now. Isn't it amazing? We're getting level 5 internet coverage up on the top of Ilkley Moor. Who'd have thunk it, folks? So it gives another sort of panorama to the picture. Is so sort of good. Clode is only 6 miles away from here. So yeah, so obviously what happened over time was all these sediments that was being deposited by these kind of rivers that meandered basically got compressed. Obviously the weight comes on, and that then forms kind of sedimentary rock. So the rock layers are formed by kind of sort of silts and soft stones that are. You are the only means of seeing this, Dr. Benita. Well, I'm delighted then to be your eyes. Ears. Well, no, not just your eyes and ears, but your legs and your arm and your voice today. Hopefully that will work. So let's keep going onwards, upwards. So basically what happens is then you get a kind of compression, and that's obviously how rock was formed. So we're going to see a kind of rocky outcrop just kind of in a moment. And so that's the kind of general direction we're walking towards, is that hill in the background. That's kind of Burley and Wharfdale looking down, sort of Ben Ridding, that sort of direction. So that's where we're headed, and hopefully we'll get there. Or maybe we won't, but I'm wondering if we can take the right path straight away. But anyway, we can't go too far wrong. If you see me lost on the moors, never to be seen again, then we need to find the Beckstone Beck, and that should then sort of take us. But I am wondering, actually, can I just bring up the map just 1 second? In fact, can somebody just bring up the map and just check? Can you see the Beck line? I'm just going to bring up my Google map. So we'll head to, as long as we've got that in front of us, it just might mean that we struggle to find one. We sing the, well, we can sing the song a little bit later on. We can sing this song. No, there's no sheep up here, not really. It's pretty desolate. There's nothing much to see by way of animals. Much more likely to be wild animals rather than kind of farming sheep up here. But you know, if you have a look at it, it's not really sort of good grass really for any aliens. Right, well, okay, Robin, that's kind of what I was about to kind of come on to really, was that perhaps because this is so sort of desolate And also, the clouds could have come down now, so you can't really see. But actually, if I was to sort of zoom in over there, can you see on the top there the famous golf balls of Menwith Hill? I don't know. It's hard to stick my glasses. It looks a bit grey, my screen, but I'm just trying to find on the zoom. Zoom's great for getting into something, but it's bad for looking for things, because then it makes it very difficult to kind of get the motion right. And there we are. Can you see that? That is Menwith Hill, which is it's a nuclear warning sort of station. So this is very much like Harrogate way. This is kind of very much a sort of place of watching, which kind of brings us into a really cool and interesting story about something that happened here, because this area has long been associated with UFO activity and paranormal activity to that point, too fine a point, right? And there was an alleged UFO incident here on Ilkley Moor on the 1st of December in 1987. So a retired police officer claimed that he'd been abducted by aliens whilst he was on a morning walk, and that he even briefly held on a UFO craft, if you like, before being returned to the moor. And interestingly, I don't know if anybody can remember this, but the man took a photograph of the alien, of the moor rather, and it shows a picture of the alien that abducted him. Does anybody remember this story? Just give me a thumbs up if you're sort of familiar. Roswell Moor, yeah, absolutely. Yes, they are heather, and they will be in full bloom by sort of August time, but right now we are obviously kind of brown. So let me just bring up the image and you can kind of judge for yourself. So this really rather kind of grainy image does it involve probes? Yeah, they're sort of moving them now. So this photograph suddenly became a kind of news story in the UK, and it's been kind of cited as one of the kind of strongest pieces of evidence that we have for extraterrestrials visiting the Earth. Although, of course, skeptics said it's incredibly blurry, dismissing it, saying it's a hoax, it's a kind of cardboard cutout, saying the photo has been doctored. So obviously all manner of kind of claims and kind of counterclaims sort of running, against this. But there have been many supposed UFO sightings on the moor. And again, people have said this is because we're near Menwith Hill, near the Air Force Base, we're very near Leeds Bradford Airport. So these little sort of smaller paths kind of crisscrossing way. So somebody's asking you about the kind of paths. Obviously the paths are very, very useful for us, but either side it is very. So I think it's the National Park Authority of Bradford Council. I'm not entirely sure. It's not ancient, the path. So the story goes under the name of a chap called Phil Spencer. It's not his real name, and he's a retired policeman. He moved from London to Yorkshire with his wife and child to be close to his wife's family. He's following his retirement from the police. And what he said was he was walking up here on the morning of the 1st of December. And he was walking to Ilkley Moor to visit his father-in-law in East Morton. That's the name of the place that he was visiting. And he'd taken a camera with him, as well as a compass, in case there was fog coming down. And according to Spencer, he'd walked up a kind of small hill. And when he then, up at the top of it, he kind of noticed this really rather odd-looking figure. So on the trail just in front of him. He's about 4 feet tall, and a really kind of oversized head and long, thin arms. And the creature made a gesture at Spencer, which he kind of took to be a gesture of sort of saying, stay away. But what he did was he took out his camera and he took a picture of the creature. And the creature then runs away, and Spencer follows. Now, apparently he loses the creature in the fog, but he saw a craft rise, right out. It's crazy, isn't it? Saw a craft rise from the moor and disappear up into the sky. And he describes the spacecraft as being sort of whitish colour and consists of 2 saucer-shaped parts that were attached, and with one being on top of the other, that there was a loud hum. But he didn't take a photograph of the craft. And rather than continue with his planned route, Spencer headed to another town that was about half an hour away. And when he arrived, he discovered, about half an hour later, it was 2 hours later in the day than he expected it to be. And additionally, the compass that he'd taken with him was pointed in the opposite direction. So it's all kind of a bit strange. And in the days that followed, sorry, I think I've taken a path that was the wrong one, but anyway, never mind. Spencer, it said, made contact with UFO researchers named Jenny Randalls and Peter Howe. And Howe claimed to have been extremely sceptical at first, but later came to believe Spencer. So Spencer handed over the copyright of the photo to Howe. Although the story kind of made the news quickly, Spencer insisted on no publicity. He wanted to keep his anonymity. And various write-ups of the case have made it clear that Spencer didn't make any money out of this. He didn't try and exploit it in any way, which is kind of interesting, right? And as well as examining the site, Howe sent the photograph to a number of experts. A wildlife photographer looked at the photograph and said, "This is no known animal. Nothing that exists that we know about is this." Experts from the Kodak laboratory, so the photo people in Hemel Hempstead, they said it's not been doctored in any way that we can see. A UFO specialist in the US Navy concluded, though, unfortunately, that the photograph was too grainy really to make a definitive. But on balance, he felt there was something in it. And according to a leading ufologist called Nick Redfern, Spencer was then visited by the Ministry of Defence. A couple of days later, 2 men in black came to his door and basically told him to stop talking about it, trying to intimidate him into silence. And while the photograph was being examined, Spencer claimed he experienced some strange dreams. Now, following Howe's advice, he attended a session of regressive hypnotherapy. And this was carried out by Jim Singleton on the 16th of March, 1988. And under hypnosis, Spencer's original account of the incident changed. Singleton has called it a genuine recall. And Spencer now recalled that upon seeing the creature on the hill, he was instantly paralysed. So this is a rather different story now. That he was then lifted up a few feet and pulled into the craft. When he entered the craft, a voice told him to be calm. A group of green aliens then performed medical experiments on him, inserting items into his mouth and nose. And he was given a tour of the craft and shown a film. The film showed apocalyptic imagery, and including a number of nuclear explosions, famines, floods. And Spencer was then shown a second film, and he's never revealed the contents of the second film. Are there bugs if you go off path? In some areas, but I think I am on the wrong path, so I'm going to just try and wander back in this direction in a minute. In fact, we'll start trying to do that a little bit and just see what comes over here, because I know I've gone the wrong direction, and I don't want to be getting too far off. So following this, Spencer was kind of returned, obviously, to Ilkley Moor, where he took the famous photograph, and he claimed the alien was actually waving goodbye to him, not telling him to stay away, as is in his kind of original account. So this kind of incident, as you can imagine, you were heading east. Well, I want to be heading down towards the Cow and Calf. So if you just bring up the map and look, and as long as the Cow and Calf is in front of me, which I believe it is, then we're going broadly in the right direction. What was this? What year was this? 1987. So, Mark, if you should able to check that map for me, but I'm pretty sure that we're walking. Well, I know walking in the right direction. It's more of a case of when I can find the path. It's a shame I've come on the wrong path, so I wasn't paying attention. So it does mean that we'll miss out on the other stone circle on to show you, unless we happen to stumble upon it. But I'm sure we can get the overall sort of vibe as we walk on. But of course, it's downside easier to walk on there. What we're looking for is the Backstone Beck. We want that really on our kind of left-hand side, and that will guide me sort of back down. So, again, sort of skeptics wonder why it was Spencer didn't take a photo of the aircraft, because obviously it would have been I'm not informed. I'm sort of cutting across now, hoping to join the other trail, because I took the wrong side. We are heading the right direction. I thought we were. So basically, we're basically walking down, and once we get towards the end, we'll have the kind of famous cow and calf sort of foundations, and we're looking for Backstone Beck. So if you can look on the map and let me know how close we are. Hopefully it is to the left of me. Is it much walking? No, it's pretty dry actually. It's pretty dry up here. So Backstone, by the way, is the name of the stream, and we think it comes to the left. And how sort of far are we, Laura? Do I look to be quite a way? Tell you what, I'll start walking sort of diagonally left and forward, and if you let me know if I'm getting sort of closer. So I do walk parallel. Yeah, it's getting boggy, so I can tell there's some water around it. I know, stay off the moor, stick to the path. And what have I done? I'm on the moors and off the path. So that's why I'm just trying to get us back there. Because, so Backstone, we believe, relates to the expression Bakestone. Head to 11 o'clock. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. A little further than you've travelled since changing direction. Okay, thank you, Sandy. That's no problem. You're welcome. So I think we're sort of converging towards where the path we can kind of join back up. And as I say, I just got a bit carried away. So, have you gone Bartat? Well, I have actually, because it's surprisingly warm today, and we are. Funnily enough, KCM, I've got new boots on, so there you go, brand new for today. Oh, it looks amazing! It looks amazing, and this is obviously Billy Moor, that's a Harrogate way that we're looking at. Oh, easy to get lost, which is why obviously we want to get back towards the track, towards. If you use Heygo, touch the map. Thank you, Benita. That's a very good clue. If only I could touch the map and see as well. Isn't that remarkable? The only person that can't see the map is the person that might need it. That's a bit of an oversight, isn't it? It never really kind of occurred to me before, because I've never actually thought I want to use the map. So you guys have to sort of point me in the right direction a bit. But I know we're getting towards it, because I can see that I've got you, I know. Otherwise, by this stage, I'd be getting a wee bit nervous and going, how much daylight have I got left? How far am I? But I'm pretty sure I can see Ilkley starting to come into the distance. So we'll talk in a minute about Bastion Circle. Tell you what, let's have a little change of mood. And if I can find it, just while I have a breather, because this bit is working a bit harder. You can imagine I'm walking across sort of rough, soft grassland, and so consequently it is a little bit more strenuous. So to give myself a little breather, you can have this. Thank you. I did. I see it. See the grouse then. Crashing plane. There are a number of stories. Gosh, it's getting hard to walk on. Sorry, I'm almost falling over with this. So let me just, hopefully, that's a bit solid. It's got very boggy in a minute. So I'm just gonna. I can see about 100 feet, 100 yards ahead of me. Hopefully, it starts to get a lot lower, and then hopefully But at the moment, this is like walking across tumbleweed. Oh. Absolutely. Oh, I can tell I'm near because it's very boggy underfoot right here. So there we go. And we'll talk about those lyrics in a minute. So I take it if I'm almost on the line of Backstone Beck that the cow and calf is ahead of me. So hopefully I'll interact with a path before we know it. And I'm about to talk and breathe. So suspenseful. Will he find it? Will he ever be seen again? At least he died with 100 odd witnesses. He didn't die for nothing. He didn't lie alone. There was plenty of others around him. So, gosh. I'd say what it is because these are so spongy underfoot, it's a lot more tiring. Path on my left. I'm almost at the end of this bit, I can tell, because it completely changed colour back to heather. But this has been, I suppose we've been in the Beck by now. I don't think we'll need that. I know which direction I'm going in. It's more trying to find a path rather than walking just across the moorland, because it is a lot more physically demanding, as you can imagine, walking like this than it is about walking on a nice sort of smooth path. I'm walking away from the path. Well, it's more a case I'm just trying to get onto this shorter heather. So hopefully, why did I go off path? Because I realised I take the wrong path. So I was trying to get us back to where we should have been, which is sort of this direction in front of us. So next stop. Oh right, Bedstone. Okay. So we were trying to hit for the Poets' Corner and for the Blackstone Circle, which is I don't think too far away from here, but I don't think we're going to hit it now on this tour. So can you see where the path is? Because this is killing me. Walking, I'm trying to... I'll come. Basically, it's getting a bit short, a bit easier. So hopefully, we can turn the path to the left. I'll try and head towards the left now. But as I say, it's these, I can't really describe really, they're like, sort of like tumbleweed. But you can see how soft that is. That's the difficulty of walking on that. So it feels like every step is, so I'm heading left now. Thank you, Susan. Obviously that's, if you head northwest, if the map is correct, so I'm just going to keep walking. Yeah, mass cover with grass, I think that's right, but it is, as I say, this is really heavy weather for walking because, as I say, I took the wrong path, and so we're paying the price. Pete, yeah, that sounds about right. But hopefully we'll find something straight ahead. Straight ahead line, take the path. That's good to hear. Walk straight and you find it now. Okay. Getting a little bit. Do I feel pretty close to it now then? It's okay to go slow. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Yeah, well, I'm trying to, Mark. I'm just not able to see one at the moment, but hopefully one will present itself before too long. I say that's where we're heading down towards, is down there. So I think I can sort of roughly make out, think where it is. It's just, it's so flipping difficult to walk on this surface. So for those of you in any doubt whatsoever, this isn't for people with mobility problems at all. You would have major struggles on here. As you can see, I'm pretty fit and reasonably fit for my age, and I'm finding this very, very heavy weather, but it is stunning at the same time, isn't it? So, hopefully, fantastic. Should be right or soon. I mean, right away, as in quick, or to the right. You're not alone, are you? It was more just a case of I wanted to take, because obviously out of the Apostles, I wanted to take 3 of the stone formations. So that's why I'm sort of slightly frustrated. We're still going to get to the same place because I can see it's just over there where we're headed. But map says should be at the path. Well, let's see. Let's see if the map's right, because I ain't seen it yet. Map says you cross the path. There you go. So you think I'm on the other side of the path now? Because I certainly haven't seen a path. But another is there. Okay. We'll just keep going. As long as, if you look at it, and just as long as I've got the cow and calf formation in front, then I'm going in the right direction, generally. 90 degrees left. Again, I keep going left, but then it doesn't seem to help. So I don't know to what degree there is a delay between where I am, the GPS. But it's very nice up here, isn't it? So I was going to tell you some more paranormal stuff, but I'm just struggling with my breath at the minute. So I'll just try and get us on something, a path, any path, and then you need to head left to the path. I'm seeing right. So this is the problem, guys, is that you're giving me conflicting information, which I know it's not deliberate, but it makes it really difficult to know for certain which is the best thing, other than to head in a kind of forward direction, and hopefully we'll get there. Both ways, 2 branches, closer one is to the left. But as you can see, there's nothing visual, there's no markers on the path, so literally until you sort of stumble over it. But I'm going to head, sort of slightly, northwesterly. I'm walking at about 10 o'clock, so hopefully that will intersect me with some route, but generally speaking, it's heading down towards where we want to be. So it should be paths either side of you. Should be, yeah. Should be. Robert is right. Looks like headed to Badgerstone. Well, I think Badgerstone's in the same direction. The cow and calf sort of right on the end. It's the final bit of our walk over the moors. Currently head towards Badger. No, I don't like kettle mint cake. I find it just sort of extreme. It's a bit too much, but so I think I can see a line here that might be a path, but I've fell for them already. Yeah, it is mine, because I made a mistake. I stepped off the path, and I've been trying to recover ever since. But that looks like we might be stumbling towards a path. You don't see the cow and calf on the map? Well, it's been there 300 million years, so I don't think it'll have gone anywhere in the last hour I was last there, so I'm not worried too much about what the map has to say. Keep going, same direction. Basically as long as we're heading towards Ilkley, which is sort of, as you can see in the front. Path. Found one. We found a path. Pardon me. So, I don't know how direct this path is, but it's a darn sight easier than walking through that. So, until such time as I can pick a path, I want to be over there. If I stand in the middle of the screen there, right, and you've got seats at the bottom, just come off Zoom there for a second. Can you see Backstone Beck, or Backstone Beck rather? Is that on my left-hand side by this ridge? Because that's really the path that I want to follow down. As I say, I came too far. You went past it. Badgerstone, it's behind you. The Beck's behind me. The Beck's behind me. Okay. We'll keep going in this direction, but this path seems to be taking me over this way, but we crossed Backstone Beck a while back. Yeah, which it goes right the way down, so it's not a sort of single kind of entity. It is obviously, it crisscrosses right across the top of the moor, so it isn't kind of one thing. But anyway, the place I wanted to take you is, I think it's up there. I think I can sort of see the stones, which is, can you see some standing stones up there? If you take this path the other way, you come to the back. So anyway, those standing stones are what is known as Backstone Circle, and it's another one of the Stone Age circles originally. Of course, it's been much messed around with over time, but that's where its origins are. And what's interesting about that one is, again, it is very, if you go straight towards left, there's a Badgerstone area on the map, straight ahead, then turn left at your next path. Okay, so I'll keep going straight ahead and then we'll take it next left when it comes up. So it's another site for the supernatural. As we discussed earlier, obviously we had the story of the policeman and the kind of UFO. It's not the only paranormal activity that's known up here. As I say, people have been up here for at least sort of 5,000 years, maybe 20,000 years. We know that the stone circle that we saw at the beginning of the 12 Apostles was used for kind of religious purposes. And it's clear that some stuff was kind of going on here of a paranormal, religious, spiritual, magical, whatever you want to call it. Just over to our left, and we're not going to get across to it now, there's a double ring of stones. Probably just a single ring, which this path's very boggy, so I'm just walking around just very close to the left path. Crossing, I think I can see it, yep. So if we follow that left path, well, that gets us back onto the line. And at this site, there has been a lot of activity. A lot of people have gone there, and they've simply said they don't like the feel of the place. There is something malevolent there. There is something. 2 minutes, turn left and head towards Badgerstone. So I think I can see a path just coming up, so we'll kind of go there in just a moment. So thank you, everybody. So it's been a bit hopeless, but obviously it's incredibly difficult when you're trying to do a bunch of things, trying to read, obviously look at the chat, you're trying to, I'm just keep looking at my notes, I'm looking in the overall direction, I'm trying to make sure that the picture looks okay, I'm looking at the signal, and all right. Oh, I don't think we're going to head across the circle now. I think the light is going to be kind of coming down, so I think we'll just head back down. I'll just tell you about it, but we've seen your Heygo team will absolutely go left for Badger, so I haven't as yet seen a path that runs to the left, but I'm going to just keep walking. So again, sort of lovely stony kind of outcrops. Yeah, don't worry, Mark, I'll be fine. It's really isn't that far. And yes, I've got one on my hat. So we'll get there. And I've got one on my phone as well. I've got two phones with me. So don't worry about that. We'll be fine. So let me just have a drink. What we know is, in terms of the layout, there is if you go to the Backstone Circle and then you measure it to where the 12 Apostles are, and then the other one whose name just escapes for a minute, it creates a perfect isosceles triangle. So whoever laid these places out, it wasn't random. Will I get? That sounds painful, but that's what we'll do. We'll head to down towards there. So you can see we're coming down, to sort of the front of the bow. You've crossed first left, another coming up. They're probably a lot more visible on the map than they are. I mean, as you can see, this is the path that I'm kind of following here. It's sort of not a lot that you can actually kind of make out. So, here's a path here coming on the left. So do I turn left at this path here? Park my car at the bottom, so right at the bottom, where we're going to finish up, that's where my car is. Yep. Civilization. Yeah, civilization's just down there. You can see all the houses coming in. Right, so there is a path here to the left, so we're going to take this path, right? Yeah, it's honestly, it's fine, don't worry, Wilder. So we're continuing straight down this path. So I've now turned left, and we're walking along. So as I say, it's going to bring us out to the kind of same place. Hopefully, at the end. Is that a path? Well, it's sort of. Yes, to the left towards Badger Stone. Well, it's sort of a path. It's been walked on. You can see there's footprints and other people have walked in it. Wherever there's boot prints, that gives you a sense that it is a path well trodden, as they say. So, well, I'm actually welcoming it to a degree, Molly, and as long as we're all sort of agreeing, it's when I'm getting contradictory information that it becomes sort of slightly more problematic. So, oh, look at that. There's a big grouse. You see that? Beautiful, eh? Right now, left is not necessarily the direction that I want to go in, because left sort of takes me back out there. What I'm trying to do is head my way sort of down here to my right-hand side. So what I'm looking for is a path that is going to get me down towards the cow and calf. So that's kind of what I was kind of hoping to be sort of aligned with, which should be. So can we just look at the map just 1 second? I'll just stand still. And that should be the direction. What? I can't be David. What, are you saying I'm going to look completely the wrong direction? Keep going straight to White Wells. What? Behind me, so I'm in the wrong direction. Is that what you're saying? Because if it is, I really need clarity on this now, so. Heading towards Badgerstone again, feeling away. Okay, guys, so I think what I may have to do is Ilkley in front of me then? That's Ilkley, so I think what I might just do is head down into Ilkley and then find a taxi to take me up to pick up the car. I think that's probably the best bet. So, I don't know how I managed to get that so wrong. But I've now lost a path as well, so. At this point, I can't read it, it's coming too fast, guys, sorry. So I'm just going to try and get. Well, my gut is just saying, head down towards, as I say, I didn't realise I was going in the wrong direction, is to go down towards the civilization, where I can see obviously lots of houses down here. So heading down, eventually going to hit civilization. Obviously taking the wrong turn on the path, but not quite sure how I did that, but anyway, there we go. Downhill to Millennium. No, I'm not going to stick to York. That's further fun in that. It's just because I didn't spend quite long enough planning the route on here. So, unfortunately, I arrived a bit late. But, no, I'm not going to stick to York. It's the first time on Heygo that I've got lost. So, I've been doing it 2 years. Going down towards Keithley Road. So, I'm sure if I can get down to the bottom. In fact, there's like a woodland copse here. I don't know if that appears on the map. And as Davey says, the further down we go, at the end of the day, it has been an adventure, hasn't it? It's just not the adventure that I planned. But there we go. That is the life of a guide. I deserve what, sorry? A treat, yeah. Bottom line, guys, as you can see down here, there's lots and lots of houses and lots of lights down there. So The only challenge for me is getting from wherever I get in civilization, getting back up to the cow and calf. So I'm sure I'm about to get a taxi. This is now walking very long, but hopefully it'll be a bit easier down here. I can't see. I can see why. The paths are hardly visible, it's got to be said. And as I say, when you try to do a bunch of things simultaneously, which is just the reality of being on Heygo, is you're looking at multiple kind of sources and thinking about a lot of things. That these paths are very, very hard to spot. But I think there's one over here. Well, this isn't too bad. Cow and Calf Pub, absolutely. So Cow and Calf Pub, and but it's named after the kind of rock formation. It's very famous. The cow being kind of large rock, and the calf being sort of smaller one, kind of broken off from it. So consequently, now I can see a proper path up there in the distance. Got lost on the tour. You can guide the guide, but I would imagine. So let's have a walk across here. No, but if needs be, I'll just go off the tour and open up the camp, the Google Maps and the compass on my phone. So, like I say, it's just the town is kind of below me down here. So, and as you can see, because I'm streaming to you, it means that obviously we've got 4G, so it's not hugely sort of problematic. Looks about as far as I've already walked to the right. Okay, I may walk when I get down to the bottom, but there's a path now I'm able to follow. So I'm north of Badgerstone, headed towards. Keep going. That was useful. Headed towards civilization. Yeah, I'm just looking at where there's a path here. I'm just looking to get how pretty. Yeah, they are, but again, it's something else to carry, and this is the reality of kind of Heygo and guiding. Is you're already one hand down because of the gimbal, so consequently, it's not as simple as when you're walking by yourself. You know, you are kind of one-handed. So until such time, I think, to be honest, probably within a couple of years, I suspect we'll be looking at kind of wearable tech. It's lovely, isn't it? So we're kind of into like a wooded copse now. I don't know if that's appearing on the map, but we're going to walk our way down towards the bottom, and with the bottom, hopefully, we should encounter both civilization and hopefully a car. At least I know where my car's parked. I'm in the Cow and Calf car park. So I'll go to taxi, take me to the pub, which is not a bad command, isn't it? So if anybody's left me a tip today, I'll use that to buy a pint. Richly deserved after this kind of marathon. But how wonderful, though, just want to expose you to the kind of wild, sort of rugged, just sort of Yorkshire. It is part of the country where we have follow the water does keep. Yes, I think you're right. I mean, this is what I'm trying to do now. Is actually there's a better path here. That was a bit unstable. This one's slightly better. Thank you, Laura. So we're well on the way down now. So try to stop going. I can't really. I'm just following the path that's here now, Leslie. So it's so tiring walking on paths that I don't really mind too much where I end up in the town, because from that point onwards, it's a much more easy logistical challenge to get back to the car. So I will, at the bottom of here, the path was veered to the right, so I'll pick that back up. Does my arm ache with the gimbal? I'm kind of used to it, Kathy. I've been doing it for 2 years. So, at first, I don't know if the guys on here, they would probably take a different view. I don't know. I mean, I suppose it does take a bit of practice, but over time you get used to anything, really, don't you? So, not so much now. It's, if anything, the thing that I have a problem with now more is my feet, because I do such a tremendous amount of walking that, and not a lot of sort of time off in between them, and the driving as well. It tends to be my feet rather than my hands or my arms that suffer. So coming into a network of paths now, so do you think I'm better off heading towards the right? Because there's a path that heads right. Oh, sure. And there's one that sort of heads sort of straight on. So yes, go left for Keithley Road. So I've had yes, go right. But so there's a path here. I can either go well straight on. There isn't really let me show you what I am like. So there's a path going that way to the left. Thank you, Adrian. And there's a path going right, which is that way. So right is for the centre of Ilkley. I mean, obviously Ilkley's just down here. So left is Keithley Road. So all right, everyone's saying left. So you know, I mean, it doesn't really make much difference. Ultimately, it's the case of just where. I don't know. I don't know where I am in relation to the cow and calf. But you know, it's going to be a taxi ride, isn't it, away, or some such thing. So we've gone left. We've gone left. So I've gone with it. I've followed the guidance. We're going downhill. Yeah, John, Karen. I'm pretty sort of low down in myself, obviously above the town. You can see the sort of town is kind of stretched out, sort of below us. But again, you get this sense. We're talking about this kind of quite recently. Is this has been killing me. I've been there many times. Yeah, this is kind of like a proper path, really. It's as close as. Again, what we're looking at, you know, is kind of glacial valleys, glacial activity of how it's kind of shaped this landscape, and obviously Yorkshire. Now then, I can either keep going left, or there's a path now which is taking me down lower and kind of more central. Right, so I think we'll head. They're all going in the same direction. It's just really a case of where I'm going to end up in Ilkley when I get to the bottom of it, really. So this is taking me further down the hill. So this is this where the Wells thing is? White Wells? Is that where I am now? Have I come onto that side? Right. Okay. Yeah. So isn't it lovely though? Wells is to my right, okay? So if you stay on this path, you'll end up, that's a bit too much information, go on, but I'm hearing it. So this path is sort of naturally sort of taking me round to the left, but isn't it picturesque up here? So the path is naturally taking me a little bit left, so you can just see how the path is sort of veering down, but we're gradually kind of working our way down, so very, very confident that we are. I definitely have. So let's talk about the song. Because I've got a bit of a breath back now. Doesn't anybody kind of know the lyrics? It's a most odd song. It's sort of become the unofficial anthem of Yorkshire. And it's actually written in a Yorkshire dialect. It is... path looks well used. Yeah, I think this path's fine. So it's all written in Yorkshire dialect, and the tune isn't original. The tune is actually called Cranbrook, and it was written in the early part of the 19th century by a man, funnily enough, who had been, he was illiterate, like a lot of people would have been in those days. Didn't learn to read and write until he was 28, but he was deeply sort of spiritual, became literate so he could sort of study the Bible. And then to kind of celebrate learning to read, he wrote a song, which was Cranbrook, and that's the tune of Ilkley Moor. So it starts as a Methodist hymn. It's also traditionally used for the tune of when shepherds watch their flocks by night, but of course now we associate that with a totally different tune. Cranbrook, yes, Cranbrook. So your first spelling was absolutely right. But it's believed that the lyrics of Ilkley Moor was written in the early part of the 20th century, and we think that it was on a chapel visit. So in those days, a lot of Methodists around. So of course, being Methodist, they knew this piece of music. And so they wrote a comic set of lyrics, and it was said to be a little sort of cheeky poke about the fact that on these outings, of course, chapel outings were kind of social ones. There was a bit of canoodling going on, and once they got out of the sight of the pastor, boys and girls would pair up and disappear off into quiet little corners, and basically have a kiss and a cuddle. So, that sort of was a bit of an in-joke, as you might say. And so they wrote this song. Nobody knows quite who wrote it, but we know that it's written in a dialect that suggests that it is from the Halifax area. So it would seem that it was people working in kind of Halifax sort of textile mills that came up with it. But there is no sort of individual sort of author for it. And so the whole thing relates to this idea of sneaking off on Ilkley Moor. But the joke is obviously not wearing a hat. So I've got them written down, so I knew I wouldn't be able to remember the lyrics, so just let me find them for a minute. So I can go through them. I'll try and go through them I'll do a simultaneous translation for you. I'll try and give you how it sounds in an authentic West Yorkshire. I don't forget I was born in West Yorkshire, so I know what the accent kind of sounds like. And then I'll kind of translate it so you know exactly what it means, because obviously it's not immediately apparent. But as I say, it was written to the tune of Cranbrook. So if you want to dig that out, Cranbrook, you may well be able to find it. It's a bit of an obscure reference. But there we go. So I'm just finding my lyrics. Where are they? Got all written down here. Right. So it's, where hast thou been since I saw thee? I saw thee. And what that means is basically, where have you been since I last saw you? I saw you. And the next bit sounds like it could be an answer, in other words, a call and response. But I don't think it is. I think it's more accusatory. In other words, I know where you've been up to. Right, so I think it's put that. The next line is, on Ilkley Moor बाट at, which means on Ilkley Moor without a hat. Again, I'm just following the path. So the path is sort of working its way down, so don't worry too much about individual sort of directions. We'll kind of find our way. And then it repeated again, just a repeating chorus. So a verse rather. Where hast thou been since I saw thee? So it's all these and thous. It's talking about old English language, kind of biblical language. So where have you been since I saw you last? And again, the accusatory. On Ilkley Moor बाट at. On Ilkley Moor बाट at. On Ilkley Moor बाट at. So on Ilkley Moor without a hat. 3 times. It says, thou's been a courting Mary Jane. So courting means romancing. Yeah. So you've been courting Mary Jane. Do you familiar with that term? My grandma and granddad always talked about courting. When we were courting, they would say, I don't know to what degree that is a term that you're familiar with. So I can't quite tell now which way the path goes down. The houses are very, very close now. But let's go this way. Hopefully this will bring us up somewhere. So, you've been that's been courting Mary Jane. You've been courting Mary Jane. That's bound to catch the death of cold. So you're bound to catch your death of cold. So the concern now is that, the concern that I'm coming to a road now. Fine, after all this time, guys, we're coming to a road. So now the concern is you're going to catch your death of cold because you're not wearing a hat, rather than we know you've been up there canoodling with this girl. So it's a bit silly. So you're bound to catch your death of cold. Then us will have to bury thee. So now we've got a kind of accusation. You die of cold, we're the ones that have to bury you. So they're not best pleased. And then worms will come and eat thee up. So you're going to say, after you've died and you've been buried, the worms are going to eat you up. And that's quite an old-fashioned sort of thing. They used to talk about that, being eaten by worms. This idea of what happens to us after we die. So the worms will come and eat thee up. Then ducks will come and eat up worms. So what it's now saying is that in turn, the worms that have got fat and that have feasted on your corpse will now be eaten by the hungry ducks. So then the ducks will come and eat you up. Then us will go and eat up ducks. So of course then they will catch the ducks and they'll eat them. Then all of us, I'll have eaten thee, they say. So and then at the end of it, we'll have all eaten you. So basically, it's, you know, if you go off doing your own thing, caught in Mary Jane, slipping off, not wrapping up, if you die, it's your own kind of bad luck. So obviously, it's sort of comedy, sort of silly song. But for some reason, it's lasted, and there's all sorts of kind of variants on it. Lots of people kind of shout out with the trousers on at the fourth line of each verse, or where the Ducks play football. There's various. The station to Ilkley. Okay, we'll kind of perhaps wrap up there. How far is that to Central Ilkley? We'll perhaps kind of wrap up the tour there, because obviously the light's kind of coming down. But yeah, I'll see a bit of Ilkley while you're here. And so it's a kind of or where the nuns play rugby, where the sheep fly backwards. There's all manner of elements. Yeah, the worms eat me up. The worms come and eat me up on Ilkley Moor. But we did all right, didn't we? We saw a lot of them all. And, as I say, unfortunately, you just take one wrong sort of step and then there you go. Thank you, Steve. Go right for me. So we are blended. Suddenly very, very nice. Thank you, Alison. That's lovely to have you on. You what, Alison? Honestly, I was never worried that we were lost, because I knew the direction that, that you could see the town in front. Obviously, we were facing the wrong direction. But as long as you can see civilizations, when you can't sort of see anything in front of you, it becomes kind of more of a concern. So, but the challenge was that I was walking because it was very boggy, very peaty, and so at times I was struggling to speak. You could probably tell that it wasn't my kind of finest hour as a guide, but it was physically very, very demanding. But if we can see a little bit of Ilkley, that's lovely, because it's a really pretty town. And I thought we could see any of it today, so that's a bonus. I don't know how far we are. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because, you're about to sort of see, obviously, a lot of civilization, some very kind of high standards of living, so kind of very wealthy around here, both in kind of Ilkley and Ben Ridding, which are the kind of the two sort of little hamlet partner. Guide the guide. I don't know, but it works, David, right? You tell us where to go, and we'll kind of follow that. So, yeah, it does show that it kind of works, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? That even though we are lone working, the fact that you guys are with us and we're able to be of assistance. And by the way, I wasn't having a dig about left or right. It was, I get, you're all sort of doing it and then sort of coming in at different times. And it isn't necessarily the minute you hit it, it doesn't pop up on my screen. So, there's just a bit of a sort of time delay, I think, and a bit of a lag in how some of the chat works, which is, the chat is it's interesting. I've noticed there's been sort of now talk about different colour boxes for questions and everything, which obviously, on the face of it, I think obviously that's a really kind of good idea. But a note of caution, I would definitely say don't expect that means that every question will get answered, because it isn't necessarily. So there's a public footpath here to my left. Or I can go sort of straight on to... Which way's the centre? Map isn't that accurate, yeah. Which way looks a better bet? I know, I've got this there's 200 of us out here. Can we come in? So let's go straight on. So yeah, with that kind of question thing, so I think it'll be, obviously that'll be better. What it won't do is slow the thing down. So consequently, look at that pretty, isn't that gorgeous? Some of that large. Go straight down. Yeah, I mean, that's. I'll just, when we wrap up, I'll just nip in. I'll get a pint somewhere. I'll phone a taxi, and it'll get me up there, and I'll be on my way. It's fine, don't worry. It's we're kind of very central now. But is it lovely? Is it a lake down here? Is it pretty? So yes, that'll be my only kind of caveat on that. Is there's sometimes a bunch of reasons why questions don't get answered. One of them, of course, is you just whiz past. The second is you're about to come to something. So when you read a question, you think, well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, so I'm not going to kind of break what I'm doing. Sometimes you're kind of in the midst of something as a guide, and I think that we've always got to give guides the right to kind of be in charge of the tour. About an hour's drive home. I think we should always say it's at the discretion of the guide as to how they want to how they want the tour to run. So if it doesn't seem to the guide to be the perfect time to break and answer a question, I think that's kind of legitimate too. It may be you're running behind, and the question can happen, or it's a sort of poor signal area. So on the surface of it, I completely welcome the colour boxes, but just in terms of managing expectations, I hope that we can all recognise that that doesn't guarantee that every question that you've got will get answered. And sometimes as well, you think that it's information that's so easily available elsewhere. If you are a bit behind, you think, well, perhaps they could look that up if it was a... So, that's just my thoughts on it. But all in all, I think... give me a thumbs up. Are we broadly in favour of sort of coloured chat boxes for questions? Is that sort of something that... And again, the other thing that as I've pointed out to you on a number of tours is, at night... Oh, look at these daffs. Aren't they lovely? Let's focus on these. So I say, it's an improvement when it comes, but it's not a panacea. So, it's a work in progress, isn't it? It isn't that they're hard to see. It's often the speed of it. By the time, and particularly if you're like me and your eyes aren't as good as they perhaps once were, maybe different for the kids. And the lower the light gets, the harder I find it. I've mentioned this time and time again, so apologies that I keep banging on, but it's a useful kind of point to make, is that as the light goes down, what would be great is if the white boxes turn to black boxes with white text, and then I can read them dead easy. But just like then, I just got a blush of white. It's whoever, about 3 or 4 people dropped in comments at the same time there, and it just skidded up the screen. So I'm not whinging, it's the job, and we kind of do it the best we can. But you're in a residential area. Well, I'm hoping when I get down to the end of here, if you can just sort of point me towards which way, sort of town centre. I thought we were sort of. Yours are black. Oh, that'd be fantastic if you were black with white text. Mine aren't. Mine are white background with black text. And so what happens is, as time goes on, as the light comes down, the lower light and then the bright screen that you're looking at, that's when my eyes sort of struggle to deal with it. But just follow the road. Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much. So, it looks like we're sort of coming through a bit of kind of park area. There's not masses to show you, which is why I'm just sort of chattering away. But down is good. Well, we're heading sort of down towards the bottom. I think we're at the edge of a kind of public park. So you do, Bev. I completely agree with that. Sometimes unscripted, unplanned encounters end up being the most memorable part of a tour. Obviously, you start off with a kind of framework in mind. Now, obviously, today, I've had to jettison a lot of it because I've not been able to show you some of the things I planned to show you, but you've certainly seen Ilkley Moor. Bits of it I wasn't anticipating that you'd see, but you've certainly seen it. Take this sidewalk. Right, well, there's obviously an animal grill. Yes, we never fully got lost, did we? We just sort of got lost. So I'm going to head down the hill, I think, towards the bottom of the town. Nobody seems to be telling me that, oh no, I am going to do this tour again. I'll just make sure that I'll kind of route plan it better. I'll take more notice when I'm walking across. I was that keen to get to the Apostles to do the start that I didn't pay as much attention as I should. No. This now is maybe focused on going, right, the next time that we come down this way, it'd be a breeze. Aren't they lovely? It's like Harrogate. It's a really lovely quality of houses. So we are very, very... No. Well, yeah, it's funny that, so John's saying about, talking to yourself. I mean, luckily, a lot of people talk on the phones these days, so that's not perhaps as, kind of cuckoo as it might have been at one time. But I've stopped noticing people looking at me, but people look at you all the time. You just have to... Well, I'm at the Cow and Calf pub, so I say we'll go down to the bottom of the town. I'll get a quick spin round so you can have a little look at Ilkley, and then I'll take a dive off and get a taxi. So I'm thinking if I go to the town centre, we will be able to find somewhere that's a taxi. And it feels like I'm going to the bottom, so at the bottom of this hill, we should be. But I'm just admiring just how nice the property is here. It is gorgeous, Joyce. It's an absolute... But I mean, it's famous, Ilkley, as a very high quality, standard of living. It's really nice. We'll do a proper town tour. I'll sort of separate them out because actually there's a good sort of mile and a half, from the top of the moor to the bottom of the town. So I thought I'll save the town tour for another time. But what we'll do is have a little flavour of the town, perhaps. But yeah, everywhere you're looking for these really elegant buildings. Absolutely, yes. So Diane's right on it. So the famous Whitewell Spa was here. So again... like Harrogate, kind of Chally Beach Springs, all these sort of things, So that great era of the spas was, drove tremendous wealth to this part of the country. I think on New Year's Day, if I've got this right, and again, I've not researched this, so forgive if I got it wrong, there's kind of like an icy dip into the White Wells Spa. It's kind of one of those things that they do, kind of madness, really. Like going, I think people go for swims on Boxing Day and all these kind of things. It's a bit of English eccentricity. But they go take a dip at the White Wells Spa. The pub near the train station. Hi, Kelly. We're almost finished on our odyssey, which has seen us get lost on the moor, chased by werewolves and various things. Stay on the path, which I refuse to do. So you've missed all the fun. We're now walking towards civilization. So we're very much not on the moor. But no aliens. We didn't carry any aliens tonight. All witches. I didn't get to tell you about the Blackstone Circle. So I'll save that for next time. It's a really good story. So we'll definitely go again. What we'll do next time, we won't start at the 12 Apostles, because you've seen that. We'll start at Blackstone Circle, because I know the way exactly from there. Blackstone Circle. And we'll do the poet as well, because I don't know if you know, but there's a poetry trail up there, which was trying to take us in. Simon Armitage, who's the poet laureate, he set up a poetry trail that runs, I think, about 45 miles across the Pennines. And there is a post box where you can deposit a poem. And I had a poem to deposit. It was here. So I'm really annoyed that we haven't sort of managed to get one. That's my bag of food for Percy the Jeeves. The cheeky pheasant, Wednesday. But I've actually got it on me. So look, we're going to deposit this in the post box, you see, from all of us. But because we didn't get it, so next time we come, we will do it. And the poem, I believe it was National Poetry Day, wasn't it, yesterday? So in opposite time, there's a post box, and it's a magical post box with a turning handle. And what you do is you put a poem in an envelope, and you turn the handle, and a poem comes out. How magical is that? That's Ilkley Moor. And it's by Poet Laureate Simon Armitage to come up with this idea. And basically, what we do is, I'll do a different one for us next time. This is what we're going to do inside my card, but I'll show you what I was going to drop in the post box, because it seemed to me a nice way of talking about the creepy oddness, which of course got us lost. So the poem is by Emily Bronte. What winter floods, what showers of spring have drenched the grass by night and day, and yet beneath that spectre ring, unmoved, undiscovered lay, a mute remembrancer of crime, long lost, concealed, forgot for years. It comes at last to cancel time and waken unavailing tears. So I thought I was kind of suitably dark for the strangeness that goes up on a night. So let's do that next time. We'll drop that in the post box, we'll turn the handle, and we'll see what poem comes out for us. But isn't that a lovely idea? It sounds like a bookshare scheme, as you might say. So you go up there, you put in an envelope for the next person that finds it, and then at some point in the future, somebody gets that out. So next time we come, I'll do another envelope, obviously with the right date on it, and there's a card in there, and they can come and find it on Heygo. How nice is that? What a nice thing to do. Whoever thought that idea was absolutely brilliant. So there we go. So it's an annoying alarm, but you can see now we're coming right down into the centre. Brilliant. Just timed that right. Coming into the centre of Ilkley. And it wasn't also by chance. It was a reminder that I'm going to be in Haworth very soon, where I won't get lost, I promise, to talk about all things Brontes. So if you like Emily Bronte poems, which I do, I think Emily Bronte is just wonderful. I think she is a kind of a talent beyond. I'm not surprised. Somebody said it was it World Poetry Day yesterday or today? I think it was very kind of recently, so it seemed like a good thing for us to kind of do on the tour. So, Elaine, you love the Bronte. I'm sure, if you do, whether you've been to Haworth or not previously, you'll want to come on the tour and see it with me. So, we are now, as I say, I'm not going to show you too much of this, because I want to save it for a proper tour, but you can see how pretty it is, right? you can see how lovely. Oh, Emily, how wonderful. How wonderful. And of course, you know, she only wrote one book. But if you're only going to write one book, my goodness me, Wuthering Heights would definitely be that book, right? Fortress weekend, fantastic. So it's all of you. So thank you so much, everybody, for seeing me home. I'm going to go and try and find my way home now. And I tell you the unexpected, thank you so much, everybody who's joined me. It's been an absolute blast. Hopefully I kept you entertained, if nothing else, on the way kind of back down to kind of sanity. So it's been an absolute delight. And, you know, it's been a mad week. So we've been, you know, this week, obviously, Sutton Bank. We'll be to Wensleydale. We've now been up on Ilkley Moor. So it's been kind of real fun. But I'm knackered. 3 tours. I'm not like these sprightly guys that can do tours left, right and centre. So in the next few weeks, I think I'll just do a little bit less and just kind of slow down a bit. But thank you, everybody who's joined me here. So do give me a follow if you haven't already. There's a button on there somewhere. And it'd be lovely to, I think I'm up about 4,600 followers somewhere. So if I tip over that tonight, that'd be lovely to go. So I'm going to switch off and I'm going to try and find a taxi rank to get me back to my car. And I'm going to drive home. So thank you, Pam. That's lovely. Thank you, everybody who's done that. So left tips behind. Thank you. Do join my Facebook group. Yeah, that'd be great. There's the stations there somewhere, I think, near here. So hopefully there'll be a taxi rank near there. So thank you, everybody. And I'm going to say bye-bye from Ilkley. Bye-bye.